Hello, I'm Peter Matthews, and thank you for joining us on the latest Firehouse Quick Chat. Today, we're here to learn about Cel-Fi from Nextivity. We've got two guests today who will share how this technology is changing the way the fire service is staying connected at today's emergencies. First, I'd like to welcome Chief Kim Zagaris. Chief, welcome, and can you share a little bit about your fire service background as well as your role in today's fire service technology?
Thank you, Peter. Kim Zagaris, and I'm the retired State Fire and Rescue Chief for the state of California, Governor's Office of Emergency Services, position I held for 17 years, my 32 years with the agency, my 42 years in the fire service. In March of 2019, I went to work for Western Fire Chiefs as their wildfire technology and advisor. That's do a lot of work with FirstNet, do a lot of work with technology, and exciting time.
Chief, thank you, and I appreciate you joining us today. I would also like to welcome Paul Rigatti from Cel-Fi. Paul, can you share a little bit of your background with us as we proceed with the video today?
Hey, Peter. I've been in RF engineering for the last 20 plus years, and here at Nextivity for the last 14 years since its inception, focusing on delivering cellular solutions globally, and in public safety for the last 3 years here.
Paul, thank you so much for joining us. So, Chief, we continue to have events that are being called unprecedented. Unfortunately, 2020 saw some of the most largest wildfires in U.S. history, and they weren't just in California, they were across the country. FirstNet, that we all know, plays a large role in emergency services communications for first responders. Can you tell us how FirstNet is different than the traditional land mobile radios that the fire service is accustomed to from years past?
Be real honest, the biggest difference with FirstNet, it's really a cellular network built for public safety, by public safety. AT&T just happened to win the 25-year award that there are performance measures in there. But this whole FirstNet came about after 9/11 and the problems we had with having reliable communications and connectivity. Today, there's like just short of 2 million connections. There's 15,000 agencies, and it's in its third year of build out of the first 5 years, doing quite well. And what I would tell you is that it's not replacing land mobile. It's given us another opportunity, another area providing connectivity off our Fireground network to get information back from one another and back and forth to our communication centers or emergency operating centers accordingly.
So, Chief, how does FirstNet know the difference between a wildfire to structural fire? We know FirstNet has a large role in wildfires over the last few years, but what does the fire service and FirstNet need to know about these situations?
The real thing I would tell you is unlike, like I said, the FirstNet Authority, it's a federal agency, oversees the FirstNet. So it's really its own network, but it's a government network for public safety. We're the only ones on it. And during an emergency, and let's just say it's a crash, during peak rush hour traffic, cellular systems are heavy. Maybe you can't get through because there's so many people in the system. It's not going to happen on FirstNet. And if you were to have a problem, you could do ruthless preemption on the system if you actually needed to. But it's literally designed for us. And basics like having a carpool lane that we would go to during an emergency, unlike anybody else. We're not competing for the use of that cellular system other than with first responders. And right now, it's got enough capability in there. There's not a problem with us overutilizing it.
Chief, thank you. The analogy of the carpool is perfect. It's a strong statement that I've never heard before, but what a great way to share the importance of what FirstNet really means for emergency crews on the streets and at other incident scenes. So let me ask you, have there been issues with connectivity for FirstNet in the field or perhaps even in the fire stations?
I would tell you that, first and foremost, that everybody believes that FirstNet's going to solve all their problems. Well, right now, the system's not totally built out, so we're not there. But, I'm not sure we'll ever totally cover every nook and cranny out there in the terrain and the environment. We've got building construction issues, but I'll tell you this, it is really coming on strong. And what I would tell you is that I live in Northern California, out on the north end of Auburn, California. I don't have the greatest cell tower capability. So actually, I would tell you that AT&T came in with a Cel-Fi GO RED and put it on the house. And it's a SCAG antenna, and then it's on the roof. Actually has another capability, goes inside the house, and really upped me. So I don't have any interruptions, and my service really brought up the capability. Same thing could happen, for a fire station, for a building, could be out at a command post where you need more capability. And basically, it boosts the power out there, not only for band 14, but also works great on band 12 out there for AT&T as well.
Chief, thank you so much for that insight. It's great, not only on a personal level, but also on a professional level. So we appreciate you sharing that. So now, Paul, can you tell us and our viewers a little bit about what causes the connectivity issues for the FirstNet program in the field?
Well, let me first give a plug to AT&T, and let's give them credit for the FirstNet network that they've built so well with excellent pervasive signal and building out a lot of towers. But the FirstNet signal is very much like any cellular signal. We're dealing with obstacles between the tower and the devices. It can be obstacles like building structures, trees, anything that inhibits that signal outdoors. But for the most part, we're dealing with the problem indoors. So think about building materials, think about walls, think about rebar, think about lead glass, think about all the obstacles inside of a building. Cellular signals will be inhibited, and these are the type of problems that we deal with on a regular basis, and that's what we deal with when improving FirstNet signal indoors.
Earlier, the Chief mentioned the technology GO RED from Cel-Fi. So Paul, that's why you're here today. Can you tell us a little bit about Cel-Fi's GO RED technology and how the fire service can benefit from that?
Well, like what I mentioned in my previous answer, we're dealing with a weakened FirstNet signal. So the Cel-Fi GO RED solution is a booster. It will take the faintest of FirstNet signals and amplify those signals to bring forth a stronger signal indoors. Now we're talking about applications now. We're talking about firehouses, police stations, government agencies, news agencies, wherever there is this use of the FirstNet preemptive services and the associated network. Now, there's also portable use cases too, where people have taken the Cel-Fi GO, created a portable solution, and used it in those portable use cases out in the field. It could be command centers. It can be any type of nomadic situation where you need to improve the FirstNet network. And not to mention also, not to forget, we also have the Quattro 1000 FN, and that's the Quattro 1000 for FirstNet, for enterprise use cases as well.
So Chief, you said you've had the chance to use the GO RED system. As someone who's been involved in the fire service technology realm for years, can you tell us how easy it is to set up the GO RED system, whether you're in the field or in a static location?
Actually, it's pretty simple to set up. Currently, if Cel-Fi has actually a kit that comes out that you can pull it out and has tripods on it and works real simple. That's as simple as it gets. And like I said, all it is hooking up the cable to the booster and to a power source, and you're really ready to go. I would tell you that, that's a kit. You could also set it up in a fire station. You don't need the kit. You just buy the capability, set it up, mount it to the SCAG antenna someplace there in the building, then run the cable into it with the interior antenna to distribute the signal. And it's really that simple out at the end of the day. whether it's in a fire station, you can put it on a mobile command post. It all comes down to where that signal is and optimizing it. Could be putting it on a pole to get even more optimization out of it. Longer distance you run, maybe you want to run some different cable in there, but there are some options and some things that Cel-Fi will surely work with you, work back and forth with their engineers to assist you if you run into any type of problem. But it literally is simple as one person can set it up in a matter of a few minutes and be ready to go.
Great, Chief. So you can probably at this point comfortably say that Go Red is very much firefighter friendly then, Lang.
Well, it is. And I would tell you that we've been using them during the 2020 fire season. And we've been using them for COVID out at sites in which we need to have a capability. Okay. It's really been just tremendous, an advantage to boosting that signal out there for both data and voice.
Chief, as we wrap up today, what else does the fire service need to know about FirstNet as they continue to roll out the implementation of the program across the country?
I would tell most folks that they should really take a look at, what they want, what they expect, make sure they have a good communication with AT&T on the FirstNet product. And, if you're a small department, maybe it won't take quite as much, but if you're larger and you manage your own devices, those are all things you really need to be prepared to as you move into it. Really take a look at where the coverage is and where the coverage is going, and how that works out. Definitely look at the cost savings. In today's day and age, we've been working through the old orange SIMs to the black SIMs process. Bigger issue for all of us to really start looking at will be going to 5G. All of our devices are going to have to be upgraded to meet it, to go that next step. Those are all things that come with time, but know the devices that you want. God, there's so many devices out there now. I think there's, better, several hundred devices you could have that are hardened or not. And whether you want phones or iPads or tablets or on your computers, any number of ways to go, take a look at them, but really take a real hard look and look what you have currently, where you want to be, and how you want to make things work for the future.
Well, Chief, thank you for that insight. I'd like to thank Chief Kim Zagaris from the Western States Fire Chiefs Association, as well as Paul Rigatti from Cel-Fi, for sharing more information about Cel-Fi's Go Red system that is helping firefighters connect and communicate during vital and emergency situations across the country. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.